NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
As an adult, don't we all miss spring break? Nothing like taking a week off from all your responsibilities. Well, here's the next best thing for adults, a spring break from house payments. SaveWithConrad.com can help you get rid of all your credit card debt, just like that. We're routinely helping our listeners save $5, $6, $7, even $800 a month. And you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this, but check this out, no house payments for 2 months. It's SaveWithConrad.com.
Hey guys, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Need to call a timeout real quick here. I wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my world listeners for a while now. It's about all the incredible things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
The wait is over, as an all-new Conversations with Conrad is finally here. He created the soundtrack to so many of our childhood memories, with iconic themes like The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Ultimate Warrior, and many more. The legendary Jim Johnston sits down with Conrad for a 2-hour career retrospective. Available now only on adfreeshows.com.
Literally started, I was watching some tape of the guy, and I just started doing this to the kind of what I felt like was the tempo of him running. And then I recorded that. And then just over that, you're just doing. You know, it's so simple, but that's what felt like him.
Hey, that's just a small taste of what Ad Free Shows has waiting for you, including a brand new perk, getting to join in on the live recordings of the shows with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why Ad Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com. That's right, sign up today at adfreeshows.com.
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Hello and welcome to Arn. This is Paul Bromwell, and today I'm joined by the Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen, the creator of the Spinebuster, and by the end of the show, a man who has had tag team championship gold with Ole, Tully, Larry, and now Bobby. He's the enforcer. He's Double A. He's Arn Anderson. Arn, it's great to see you this week, my friend.
There's a common denominator in there somewhere. I'll think of it. Surely.
We'll have to come up with it. I know what it is, and it's double freaking A, man. It's so good to see you this week, buddy, and we're back at it. And speaking of being back at it, April means a few things, sir, and we're just coming off of a big, well, I should say you are, WrestleCon. You and Brock this past weekend were in Los Angeles concurrently during WrestleMania. Obviously, that was going on out there, but from what I've seen on social media, the event was a huge success, and I know how much you love interacting with the fans.
Yeah, and the guys at High Spots are killing it, man, with these events. It's the fans are over the moon about it, and all the talent. It's a great event for everybody.
Man, it's so good to hear it. And Brock's getting out there doing his thing. You guys are going to Orlando. I know Tony Khan's been great as far as also allowing a lot of the wrestlers to do their things outside of the company. Listen to this, and I have it here in the notes. In the last year alone, Brock has worked with Ricky Morton, FTR, Ricky Steamboat, Heath Slater, Nick Aldis, Jay Lethal, and the list goes on, man. I mean, that's not a bad lineup for Brock to be able to get tied up in the ring with some of these guys.
No, that's for sure. And that's how you get better, is wrestling somebody better than you. And virtually everybody on that list is better than him because of his experience level. But I tell you what, him and Pillman are going to make, pretty
They're going to do some things, huh?
Pretty damn good team, yeah.
Good. I'm excited to hear that. So it seems like they're continuing to move on with them as a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of matches that Brock's had, he learns something every single time and he retains it. So we're getting some reps on some independent shows and, especially anything that we can travel to and back in Charlotte. You know, if it's
Yeah.
if it's within a 300-mile radius, it's great for us too.
Man, that's awesome to hear. I think I told you that last week too. Every time I see Brock post something on social media, it's another booking, it's another weekend event. I know you guys already have some stuff I saw in August, which isn't too far away, but I'm sure there'll be stuff between now and then, you know, just filling up your calendar. So it's exciting to see, my friend.
Yep, we're excited about it. You know, it's love this business, love the people involved, love the fans. It's just a wonderful way to make a living.
The speaking of excitement, the other reason that I'm excited, Arn, is other than it being April, snow finally melting here in the great state of Pennsylvania, we're getting close to the release of Arn Anderson, My Life as the Enforcer. And I'm telling you, just about a month or so away till that finally comes true and that shows up in our mailboxes for those that have already ordered it.
25 years ago, if you'd have told me I was going to do, well, people asked me about writing a book. Nobody asked me about a comic book, but this is going to be a blend of both. It's an autobiography with a I guess, superhero comic book thing.
Yeah, like a graphic novel kind of deal.
Graphic novel. That's the words I was looking for. So it'll be fun, it'll be entertaining, and it'll have some things that'll make your teeth fall out. So.
Hey, I'm late to the party with dental work, so I'm trying to work on that, but I don't want them to fall out quite yet. But you know what they can do? They can do other things with, like, the animation, cartoon, and all that. They can add hair. They can add muscles. There's a lot that Dirk.
What are you saying?
No, I'm just saying, not for you.
Saying they had to add hair and muscles on mine?
No, not at all. I'm talking about the guys you wrestled. You look like an Adonis, from what I can say, which is true to form. You know.
Listen, you can backpedal, just not. Let's not make it nauseating.
Don't be disgusting about it, Cromwell. I get it.
Well, and actually, some of the first. Now, to their credit, they've done a great job. But some of the first draft stuff that they were really trying to lean over a little bit and make me look, you know, too jacked, and I went, hey, wait a minute, guys, let's double it back. And they went the other way, and
and then they made you look chubby.
Isn't this supposed to enhance me to some degree?
Yeah.
And so they found a happy medium in the middle. I think everybody will be happy with that.
So, Arn, it was one of those conversations where you were like, hey, listen, 6-pack, 4-pack, yeah, 4-pack more like it.
Or just traps.
Okay.
I can do without abs. Abs would take too much work.
Too much work and not enough food.
Calves and abs, man, are a pain. If that's your goal, you are in for a lot of work.
A lot of work and not a lot of food. And me and you like to eat food, brother.
Yes, we do.
Since the last time I talked to you, I ordered more Jimmy's Famous Seafood.
How can you go wrong?
You can't.
Did you get those great big crab cakes?
I got the great big one, and I got more of the crab cake egg rolls.
Yeah, they're dynamite, man. The food's incredible.
Love them. Well, listen, before we get off on a tangent, because once we start talking about food, that's just how it rolls. Let's get into wrestling. That's why our fans, our audience, our listeners are here. And we're going to talk about January, and we're turning the year. We're into 1992, January 92. And you and Bobby Eaton are in pursuit of the tag team titles that are currently held by Dustin and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And the feud is part of a larger storyline of the Dangerous Alliance trying to take down WCW. And we have a lot of excited listeners that have been engaging with us on social media. They love hearing about the Dangerous Alliance. And it's a short time frame. You know, when you think about factions and how long they're around for, the Horsemen's years and things of that nature, the Dangerous Alliance definitely wasn't around that long. But, man, when you talk about impact, and so we're going to jump into it this week. Our first clip of the week, you wrestle the Natural, Dustin Rhodes. And we're going to take a look at what happened. It's January 4th. It's World Championship Wrestling. And you and the Natural go one-on-one. Here we go, clip 1 of this week.
A minute or so left here of TV time. And I've just been informed that if this match is not over, we'll show it, the balance of it, to you in its entirety. There's a bulldog tomorrow in the main event. But that may be a mute point here. He's got him pinned. Dangerously distracted the referee, and beautiful Bobby came right off the top. Dustin had him pinned. Dangerously had him distracted. This will be all. One. This should be it. Oh, he got his shoulder up. And Steamboat, Ricky Steamboat, is telling the referee what happened. Fans, we will tape this match in its entirety. We'll show you the balance of it tomorrow on the main event. Eaton throwing Steamboat back out. This match is continuing. What a battle. Here on TBS. Dustin with the abdominal stretch. Steamboat is here to keep his eye on Eaton. What a wrestling match we are seeing here. Side headlock. And he was tripped. Beautiful Bobby tripped the kid. Lateral press. Oh my! Can you believe this kid's tenacity and heart? And now Austin's out. Stunning Steve from behind on the Dragon. It is chaotic here at center stage. But the match of the night continues. There's Barry Windham. Windham is out here. They're fighting all over this place. And Dustin's got the advantage again on Anderson. The referee's going to call for disqualification, I think. They're trying to beat up Barry Windham. Zbyszko the cruncher, stomping on his hand. Windham thrown outside. Rhodes now being decimated by the Dangerous Alliance. Windham trying to fight back in. And there's big Ron Simmons. Oh, there's Ron Simmons. What a deal. Simmons hammering away. They're fighting all over the building. Zbyszko out. Here comes Austin, Simmons, and Windham standing tall, along with the Dragon. Rhodes has won it via disqualification.
God, this has Jim Crockett Promotions written all over it, doesn't it?
Oh, shit. Well done.
Ah, Dusty knows what he's doing. The Dangerous Alliance are basically playing the role of the Four Horsemen.
Well, and you're filter when you filter guys in instead of send them all at once, you layer it. It just flows better, and you don't miss anything. You can't watch 10 people fighting at one time. You know, so it was really well executed.
It was, and it was a way too where you saw like the crowd just kept getting hotter and hotter, and then they bring Ron Simmons back into the fold, so that they're losing their minds. Jim Ross is making us at home lose our minds because he's amping it up, you know, to the next level as you're listening to him, you know, do what he does. But I tell you what, it is so effective to want to make you come back and turn that TV on the next week to see what happens.
Check.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yep.
Leave them wanting more.
Leave them wanting more, and we got it right there, buddy. And the Dangerous Alliance, again, it's very similar. And as we go back and watch this to what Dusty was doing and what was happening similar to me, again, I see Jim Crockett Promotions, I see WCW Saturday Night, I see the Small Studio Show, and I see the Horsemen, but this is a little bit bigger here at the soundstage with a different group of people.
But the common denominator in this is you got 5 bumping heels.
That's right. That's
that
right.
know their job, and that's their job. When it's time, get your ass kicked.
I want you to think about it, too, because we've come a long way, if you think about it, in the last couple months of watching WCW wrestling. Dusty's made some incredible strides with the storytelling, and he's got a great mix of veterans like you and Barry and others that are now interwoven, and Steamboat, interwoven with the young guys. You got Dustin, and you got Ron Simmons, and you got Steve Austin that are now kind of part of this. This is a lot of fun, and it seems like he's hitting on every cylinder when it comes to booking.
Yeah, absolutely, doing a great job, and you're creating some new stars.
How did the fans during this time react to Dustin and his in-ring work? Do you think that the audience truly realized at this point how good Dustin was at this time?
I think so, because his style was just his. You know, he would occasionally hit a guy in the head with an elbow, you know, as a tribute to his dad, but he had his own style, and he was, he was a wrestler, and he wasn't a gimmick, and he earned his way through, and he could perform.
As a fan of this time, Arn, I could tell he's not a carbon copy of his dad. Yes, he's got that Rhodes name. He's lean, he's tall, athletic. He's a different performer than Dusty Rhodes. It's not junior in any kind of way. You know what I mean? He felt completely different, and I think for that reason alone, he stood on his own in my eyes.
Yep, and he was picking it up quick. And now at this point, just like I've always said, you got to wrestle guys better than you. He was in a ring with guys with more experience than him, and that's how you get better.
There you go. Just like we talked about Brock earlier and the guys that he's been wrestling. So
that's exactly right.
Well, Arn, the following week, the Dangerous Alliance worked in a 6-man tag match where Steve Austin joins you and Bobby. Just think about that. You're on one side. You, who would become Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Bobby Eaton are all on one side, taking on Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, and Ron Simmons. The talent in this ring. Hall of Famers everywhere. It really is. So we're going to take a look at it. This is January 11th episode of WCW. Sorry, guys. I get a little excited at this. This is just incredible, the level of talent in this ring for WCW at this point in 92. This is worldwide, January 11th. Here we go, Arn.
Staggering Bobby. Bobby went to the eyes. And out goes Dustin. And now at the feet of Paul Lee. And this gang, Arn Anderson with a double axe handle. Steamboat's had enough. It's broken down to a brawl now. Steamboat actually, the old cliche is going to the lion's den, and he did. Steamboat like a man possessed. Dustin, meanwhile, is the legal man, and he was posted just now. Dustin was rammed to the ring post on the far side. And you see the aftermath of what has transpired. Oh, what a match.
Tell him to get back. I don't care. You tell him to get back.
Steamboat's had enough. It's what you call taking matters into your own hands, and unfortunately, it turned out the worst for Dustin, and the youngster once again holding true, getting back to his feet. Oh, he's in a lot of pain. And you have to be wondering, like we said, is he injured? Would this affect the World Tag Title situation? Oh, look at Steamboat. Sacrificing himself for his partner. And a stunned Arn Anderson down on Steamboat. We are seeing 6 men giving everything they have and more. And Dustin has enough blood for a backslide. And he would have had him pinned had there been a referee. Randy Anderson really upset with himself that he wasn't turned around in time. Good move by Anderson. This is more than just a match. It is something very personal between everyone here. The effect of that knee rammed the head of Anderson to the head of Rhodes, and both men are down. Can Dustin get there this time? Both men very groggy. Anderson can just reach out and does. Dustin! He's there! Here we go! Ron Simmons! Big shot! To the legs, Bobby scooted out of the way. Austin could not. Neither could Anderson. And now we've got all 6. What has been an absolutely draining match is even more so. Remember, Simmons is the legal man. And I believe Bobby is also. Double team here. Steamboat. He catches him. He covers him. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the match, the All-American Ron Simmons, the Natural Dustin Rhodes, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
We have never seen anything like this ever on Worldwide, ever. And it's not stopped yet. The cruncher is in. And the Dangerous Alliance, once again, trying to get the last word. Putting Steamboat up for the spike pile driver. Fans, we are out of time. We have to go to WCW. Oh, wait a minute. They're not finished yet. On the throat. Dustin trying to get in. Wyndham. He's seen enough. The Dangerous Alliance strikes again. Here on Worldwide Wrestling. Oh, that was exhausting. Let's go to WCW.
Tony Schiavone needs a bottle of water, a nap, or something after calling that action. But I failed to mention, I mentioned all the talent in the ring, but then you got Heyman on the outside. You got Randy Anderson as your referee, Tony Schiavone on the call. It's just, it's an incredible, fun time to be watching wrestling with WCW. But again, to close down the match, you got the gang mentality, the gang warfare of the Dangerous Alliance, continuing to deliver that Horseman style beatdown. I know I keep going back to it, but it's just very reminiscent of getting that heat. And you see Bobby Eaton coming down, that Alabama jam. We've talked about it on the show before. He's something else, man. And you've said it before. There was no one safer than Bobby Eaton coming off that top rope.
And spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
People, he was so good, you almost got lulled to sleep because he was so good. It was just effortless, you know, and the coming off the top, dropping a leg across a guy's throat or dropping a knee across the back of his head off the top is no easy task without killing somebody. You know, Bobby Eaton was just, man, he was just good, really good. And that gang mentality, you know, if you feel it like I'm feeling it, reliving it, its momentum is building.
I'm going to read an excerpt here out of one of the research magazines. This is where it all goes down. The feud between the Dangerous Alliance and Rhodes and Steamboat was climbing to a fever pitch. Every interaction was intense and physical, leaving the wrestling fan wanting more. With each altercation, Dusty's booking built to January 16th, 1992 in Jacksonville, Florida, in front of 3,052 fans. Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton defeated Dustin Rhodes and Ricky Steamboat in a 2 out of 3 falls match that went 27 minutes and 11 seconds, Arn. Dustin got himself disqualified, giving the Dangerous Alliance the first fall. The Natural redeemed himself by pinning Bobby Eaton in the second fall. And for the third fall, Arn hit Dusty Rhodes with Paul E. Dangerously's telephone after Barry and Austin came out to interfere and fall to the back. So Arn, here it is. The Zach Morris telephone was definitely an upgrade from the most dangerous loafer in all of pro wrestling. but you got it done, man. You and Bobby are the tag team champions. And a fun trivia note, you also won the tag team titles in Jacksonville, Florida with Tully when Barry turned on Luger in April 1988. So here you go. In 92, you do it again in Jacksonville for the tag titles.
That was a good town for us, wasn't it?
It was a good town for you, for sure.
Still a good town for me.
It still is. That's right. The headquarters.
There's somebody I know down there got some stroke. Who was it?
Yeah. Who could it be?
I'll think of it.
Yeah, we'll come up with it. I don't even have to text the research guy on that one. But I'm not sure we've ever discussed this, Arn. But as a wrestler first and on an agent level second, how did you go about structuring a 2 out of 3 falls match or matches in general? How would you put those together? Do you feel like there was a formula to those?
Yeah, you always put the baby faces behind the 8 ball. Heels would always get the first fall. So you had that advantage. And then you would even it up, and then it almost started like it was a brand new match. But I found it was always better to some fashion, whether it's the babyface blowing his stack and getting DQ'd or whatever, a win's a win.
I want to talk a little bit about Ricky Steamboat because he obviously comes in. He's paired with Dustin. They win the tag team titles. He's obviously the right guy. He's been, back 6 to 8 weeks. He's working the house show loop with Dustin. He's working against you and Bobby. Typically, you guys are in the semi-main event of the evening. But how beneficial was Steamboat to Dustin's development as a wrestler and even just as a tag team wrestler at this point?
Not only was he a tremendous asset and learning tool for Dustin, so we all learn from Ricky. Ricky could be very easily, when it's all said and done, the greatest babyface of all time. And if you didn't learn something working with him as a heel, you don't need to be in this business. I know every time I went to the ring, I was just amazed at how good and how smooth and how snug everything appeared to be. And he was just one of those guys that was built and born and destined for this business, and at a high level. It's hard enough to sing. I don't think you can sing his praises enough.
And if you guys need an example, just watch that last clip that we just did, Arn. Just watching him. Well, first of all, I loved how he jumped in and took the knee shot. You don't ever see that happen too often.
No, and that's storytelling.
Yeah, so good. And then your pile driver, he just took right into that move so smoothly. You're right. Everything he did, and then as far as how he took it and how he sold it, everything he did had meaning.
No weaknesses, none.
There you go, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
And Dustin was just by osmosis, was just in his own way was soaking it in. If it was just watching Ricky sell and how he sold and fought back and all that, if that's all Dustin learned, that was, you couldn't buy a learning experience like that if you tried.
It's got to be just like anything else, Arn, in life. If you get to perform next to the greatest performer on stage, for a bulk of your career, if you get to play baseball with one of the best hitters and pick his brain, if you get to play football with, it doesn't matter what the case may be, and learn technique. It's just like in wrestling. If you have the ability and the privilege to be around a guy like an Arn Anderson or a guy like a Ricky Steamboat, take advantage, soak up that knowledge, and if you're a listener and coachable, sky's the limit. And Dustin was in that position here with Ricky.
Correct.
Well, buddy, we move on. It's January 18th, 1992, and here's Gordon Soley. I talked about him last week, but here he is, and he announces that you and Bobby won the tag team titles from Rhodes and Steamboat in controversial fashion. That's a terrible Gordon Soley. Let's take a look at the announcement and the promo that followed in our third clip of the week. Here he is, Gordon Soley, January 18th, 1992.
Doing some talking are the new WCW World Tag Team Champions, Arn Anderson and Beautiful Bobby. They announced last week they defeated Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes in, well, a very controversial fashion. Now, we'll hear some more comments from the Dangerous Alliance.
Ladies and gentlemen, the brand new World Tag Team Champions, Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Double A Arn Anderson.
Paulie, is it any surprise when Lawrence Taylor has 3 sacks in a game?
Not to me, it's not.
I don't think so. Was it any surprise when Reggie Jackson hit 4 home runs in one game?
Not to me, it wasn't.
So why is it a shock when the 2 finest wrestlers, tag team wrestlers in the world, managed by Paulie Dangerously, won the World Tag Team titles? Everybody expected, didn't you?
Of course.
Well, a lot of teams are now after a shot at the World's Tag Team Championship now that it's in the hands of the Dangerous Alliance. Certainly you have to consider a Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes, but also look for the Steiners to make a run. Also, Rick and Scott were the most dominant team in WCW during the spring of last year when Scott was injured. Now, back from the injury, the Steiners look better than ever.
The Steiners look better than ever, but let's break this down a little bit. You have the dean of wrestling, Arn, and the voice of your childhood, your wrestling childhood.
You read my mind, yep, he sure was.
And he makes the announcement that you and Bobby were victorious in the 2 out of 3 falls match. And listen, we know Bobby Eaton talking, getting on the mic, that's not his forte. That's not what he likes to do. So obviously you and Paulie have the interview time. And you're using that LT illusion again that we first saw last week and put yourselves over in the process.
Name dropping. Name dropping.
There you go. But listen, notably when the interview closes and goes back to Gordon, he teases what we see at SuperBrawl 2, pal. And that's you and Bobby defending those tag titles against those guys that are strong as ox that are going to beat the shit out of you, the Steiner Brothers. You got to be excited for that, aren't you?
Well, boy, you got me hopped up about this.
You had wrestled the Steiner Brothers in previous encounters. This time, though, you have Bobby Eaton on your side. What do you happen to remember or recall at all? You and Bobby maybe having a little conversation? I guess it's going to be us and the Steiners.
Yeah, Bobby was sitting in his chair, lacing his boots. I pulled up a chair and I sat down right in front of him. And I looked at him and he's lacing up. And I said, you know, we're going to take a tremendous ass whooping tonight. You know that. And he said something along the lines, who the fuck? And I went, okay. And I just got up and walked off. I still don't know what he says.
The jury's still out on what Bobby Eaton mumbled.
And I got really good when we were partners about understanding him. Guys would go get me in another room and bring me in and go, tell him, Bobby. And he would say, you would, and I'd tell him what he said.
You were the Bobby interpreter.
I just wasn't there yet. Yes, I was the Bobby interpreter.
I love it. I love it. But you weren't there yet at this point.
Not quite.
But when you were done with the Steiners, who knew you'd probably talk like that too after they punched you in the mouth a few times?
If I could talk at all after a match with the Steiners, I won.
You were doing well. There you go. So good, man. Well, listen, following your tag team championship victory here, you and Bobby joined forces with Larry at the Clash of the Champions. Larry's back in the fold, Arn. And it's Clash of the Champions 18. It takes place January 21st, 1992 at the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka. And there were 5,500 fans in attendance for this show, and it draws a 3.7 rating on TBS. Again, we didn't really talk about ratings back then, but this event was a setup for SuperBrawl 2, and it saw the WCW debut of Jesse Ventura. So they bring him in. He's doing his commentary gig. Yep.
For Topeka?
For Topeka. Yeah.
Now that's a trivia question.
That is true. Yeah. Listen, Jesse, by the way, again, plug for ad-free shows. Dominic D'Angelo, Marcus's brother, was able to snag Jesse Ventura for an interview for ad-free shows.
No shit.
Isn't that something?
Dominic, my man.
I know. Yep. Dominic does YouTube for Arn too. So big shout out to Dom for landing that one.
Damn.
That's a big get. Yeah.
That's like getting one of the Rat Pack.
It is, man. That's like that's a big get. So shout out to Dominic. But yeah, Jesse makes his big debut here for WCW. So you have you, Larry, and Bobby. The three of you wrestled Dustin Rhodes, a wounded Barry Windham, and a certified badass in Ron Simmons. And do you think you won or lost, Arn?
How bad was Barry hurt?
Not bad enough to lose.
Well, you just answered.
I know. I had to let you know early because we're going to watch it. And so I'll tell you what, though, the sixth man doesn't disappoint. It's our fourth clip of the show. We had the closing minutes of this one. Let's take a look at what went down in Topeka that cold January night. Here we go.
It was a great move, too. Wyndham is tagged. Dustin Rhodes, and now Larry is aware of that. So far, this match, the Dangerous Alliance has seemed very disappointed. Anderson, or Zbyszko rather, made sure Eaton avoided Rhodes, who went sailing over the top rope. And what's dangerously, and a telephone right in the gut, and it may have even been low below the belt. Trying to get on the offensive. That's what the Dangerous Alliance has attempted to do here. Oh my goodness. Swinging neck breaker on the inside, and Dustin's in major trouble. Barry Windham had to be restrained. He's down back in this corner. But the youngest man in this contest, Dustin Rhodes now, being separated from the pack, so to speak. Anderson missed with his left hand, but he caught him. Waistlock and a spine buster. Will it be over here? He's on top. Lateral press, 2 3/4. And Anderson can't believe it. Well, Anderson did not hook the leg. And that's only the first mistake. The spine buster's effective only if you wear the man down much more than Dustin's been worn down. Snapmare. And then Rhodes pulled the knees up. The son of the legendary American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Pull those knees up and Venture-like fashion. But right there's a DDT. Actually, it was a DDT, but it had an effect of even greater than the DDT because he landed on the top of at this point in the matchup.
I think that time Dustin very fortunate he landed in his corner because he could hear Barry Windham and his encouragements, and it helped him get up before the 3 count.
Beautiful Bobby. Now, going up top. Is it Alabama jam time? Going for the elbow, and it found its mark. You realize that the last 3 TV champions in WCW are all now in the Dangerous Alliance. One of them on top right there. And again, the kid barely got his shoulder up. Dangerously has put together a real team of all-stars. And Dustin Irish whipped into the corner. The beautiful Bobby. Oh, we got a bird's eye view of that. Found himself in a very uncomfortable position on the second turnbuckle when he makes the tag.
You know, the comments that Paulie made with Eric earlier on makes you wonder if they are out to win a match here or out to put somebody completely out of WCW, like Paulie said, before the night is over.
Dustin Rhodes with those big size 13 cowboy boots right in the face of Arn Anderson. And now both men in a very precarious position. Who will be able to execute the tag?
Jim, you could not waste a second when attacking Dustin Rhodes. Arn Anderson wasted a second. He paid for it. He has too much resiliency, too many guts.
Oh, Windham is tagged in. Barry Windham, with that heavily wrapped hand, catches Eden the lariat. The doctors have told Barry, we're not sure you should be wrestling. He has thrown caution to the wind, as the old cliche goes, risking his own welfare to compete here at the Clash of the Champions. Back body drop and a lateral press, and in comes the cruncher. He's met with that right hand that has had to be reconstructed, and Anderson with a cheap shot.
Well, it may be a cheap shot, but it's good 6-man wrestling, I can tell you that.
Anderson and Rhodes fighting on the outside. The cruncher. Oh, Windham top. Beautiful Bobby coming over top with that right hand. He got it right on the top, and it's over.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the match, the team of the Natural, Dustin Rhodes, Barry Windham, and Ron Simmons.
Windham's hand heavily taped, and that protective covering may have been the deciding factor in that, Tony. When Eden came off the top, he got caught.
Early on in the match, though, it was throw caution to the wind because Dustin came flying out, and this is a very dangerous maneuver. He gave it everything. But I tell you what, Barry Windham really worked hard in this match. He sacrificed that hand that they did not work on during the match and came away with the victory. Jim, I'm going to try to talk in the locker room to Barry Windham a little bit later on.
And still to come is Sting and Steamboat versus Rude and Austin. Will be...
Man, what a treat for everybody watching along with us. I mean, 6 Hall of Famers in that ring to make this semi-main event at the Clash of Champions such a fun match.
It was a blast.
The ending was creative too, by the way, and Tony and JR broke it all down for us. Windham was willing to sacrifice his own body in order to win the match with the huge punch from the hand with the cast on it. And that story, Arn, the willingness of the baby faces to do anything they can to defeat the Dangerous Alliance, just elevates the seriousness of the threat posed by Paul Lee's group there.
That would be one of those fight fire with fire gimmicks.
Oh, hell yeah. And it worked. And not one of the baby faces was safe from what you guys plan to do at WCW and to anyone really that gets in your group's way. So we move on because 4 days after this Clash of the Champion, the feud between Dustin Rhodes and his allies and the Dangerous Alliance continues as you and Dustin once again square off. And this time it's January 25th episode of WCW World Championship Wrestling. It is our final clip of the week, Arn, and we're going to take a look at what happened when you, the Enforcer, wrestled the Natural. Once again, our final clip of the week.
And we don't have a clean victory yet, do we?
We don't. No clean victories yet. Good point.
Dustin Rhodes met Anderson coming in. And caught him with a lariat. This kid reaches down into the depths of his soul to come off the ropes with that lariat. He's got to be hurting, but he continues to compete. And you know it's hereditary. quickly. Rhodes meets him with the right hand. He didn't take a chance there. That's smart. Got him in the sleeper. Ran to the back. He got him the Bulldog. Great counter. Bulldog, wait a minute. There's Larry Zbyszko. But here's Big Barry Windham. Zbyszko didn't want any part of Windham. Let's get the official decision. Austin's in. Dangerously. Got the telephone. Dangerously scattered. Wyndham's got the telephone. Hammering Austin's knee. Barry Windham. Chairs are flying. Zbyszko won't even go help his partner. He's so intimidated by Windham. And then Windham has Zbyszko or Austin in the figure four. This crowd is standing. They are going crazy here in Kansas City. He may break his leg. Dustin Rhodes holds him off with that chair. The damage has been done. The stunning Steve Austin. The Dangerous Alliance in trouble and will be back.
Carnage and chaos.
Flipped the script on our ass, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This time it was you guys and Steve Austin getting the ass beating.
Yeah, and then with a gimmick.
Yeah,
that phone.
With your own gimmick. Yeah.
I'll be damned.
You worked a lot with Dustin in this era, evidenced by the fact that we've watched 2 separate matches during this episode alone. Where would you rank him as far as one of your greatest opponents? I mean, we talk about Barry Windham, we talk about his dad, right, Dusty, Brian Pillman, the Rock and Roll Express, the Steiner, so many others. But where would you rank Dustin in all that?
He's definitely up there for that era of the WCW era. Because we started with him as just a kid and watched him grow into a man.
Do you feel like because you were working with him so much in that era that you maybe were a little just extra careful with the way you called the match? And I mean, do you ever feel like you just fell into certain patterns with certain guys, or was it hard to kind of keep things fresh with guys you worked a ton with?
Yeah, well, you would get caught and you had to be careful, and we're seeing it on TV that you do the same spots and the setup. And it's exactly the way you got to it before. And in those days, you were just plowing ahead so much you didn't stop to think, well exactly what do we do? You know, might not should do this tonight or whatever. You know, it was just, now things had picked up and we're starting to work a lot more regularly. And it's hard to keep up with what you did TV to TV. Sometimes we would shoot stuff out of order even.
Yeah, no, you've talked about that before, and I don't know how you kept it all straight.
Tough.
The other thing I wanted to touch on here is what we saw at the end, and that was the interaction between Barry and Steve Austin. Because listen, Arn, those two guys would go on to have an incredible feud in 1992, and they spilled buckets of blood. Why do you think the combination of Barry and Austin just works so well together?
Austin is in that Ivan Koloff of keep coming forward no matter what. He's almost like a friggin' robot. And Barry Windham, if you just watched, you saw glimpses of Barry Windham at when he was his best. When he took that phone and went off on the guy's leg, you know, it was crisp and violent, and it was just all those things that Barry Windham was. Barry Windham was another one of the all-time greats, and you know, it looked like he's trying to cripple the guy, and it just worked for the angle.
I love what you said there about Barry being one of the all-time greats, and for those that, you know, maybe not as familiar as Steve Austin's run here in WCW, or maybe even earlier than WCW, what he did in World Class or USWA or wherever he worked in the Texas, federations and the Texas promotions. But he gets to work with guys like Barry Windham, and then you see down the road, Austin eventually is going to work with the Shawn Michaels and the Triple H's and the Undertakers. But one thing that you can't forget is the days of him working with the Dustin Rhodes and the Ricky Steamboats and the Barry Windhams. And how much do you think that helped prepare him for that bigger run in WWF because of the foundation that he had?
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's like Ivan Koloff. You know, I've said before, Ivan Koloff was a guy that was just a machine. He just kept attacking, and if you didn't fight him, he'd eat you up. Austin was kind of same that way. You know, he just kept coming, and he would make you really work hard. You better be in cardio shape. You get in a match with Steve Austin because, buddy, he's going to put the pressure on you.
And I think, too, is this the grooming of a pro wrestler. And sometimes you don't stop and think about it. We've talked about Dustin. We've talked about Brock. And we talked about, you know, this the grooming period that has to go on for a wrestler as they continue to evolve. And sometimes it's not really, you don't think about it as much. But here we are talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin. I keep saying Stone Cold because, you know, that's what he became famous for. But here we are talking about stunning Steve Austin, working with guys and legends like Barry Windham and Ricky Steamboat. And I just want to make sure that, you know, it's out there. That's all what it takes to start building a Hall of Fame career, man.
Yeah, you just keep adding a layer and another layer and another layer. And you learn different things by watching the greats perform because they're all different. If you watch all those guys in the ring, they're all different. Their styles are different. Everything they do is different. And that's what you did in those days. You see a lot of repetitive stuff these days, and, you know, in the course of a night, you may see the same dive 6-7 times. In those days, you had 4 or 5 things that you did, and you might not do them all in every match. And it was things that you did well. You wouldn't do stuff that you didn't do well. It was just common sense.
Well, Arn, what we did well here was talk about January 1992. That's going to conclude this week's coverage of that month in your career. Don't forget, you can access all things Enforcer by going to arnlinks.com. Once there, you can find all the links to our social media pages, previous episodes, the show archives, both for Horsemen and Arn Show stores. Arn, I see you wearing that Arm Anderson t-shirt. And you mentioned it last week, buddy. There is a lot of t-shirts and styles, and I think some of our listeners may forget, but between the Four Horsemen show and the Arn Show store, a lot of stuff available out there.
Box of Gimmicks and the Horseman store, it's got a lot of different stuff, so be sure you check both of them out.
That's also where you can pick up those coveted Horseman jackets, and everyone loves quality, fit, and all that good stuff. Well, you're going to find it with the Horseman jackets. We can't put them over enough. 12 different color combinations, the Anderson red and white. It's been a big hit with our fans, Arn. And if it was a dream of yours to create a jacket closest to the original, then I would say this is a hit, and it's a must-have.
It's lightweight. It's not something that's going to be too hot to wear now in this early spring. And like I said, it's quality.
It's quality, and you'll feel like you are one of the Horsemen just wearing that bad boy around. Guys, listen, check out our YouTube page. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications at youtube.com/Arn. It would mean a lot to us, and it really does a lot to help support the show. It's free for you to do. And so if you would do that, it would mean a lot to us. We would appreciate it. Also, other thing I want to mention is if you're a business, we have a lot of business owners out there that listen to the show, Arn. And if you target that 25 to 54-year-old demographic, there's no better place for you to advertise than right here with us on the Arn Show. You've heard us do ads for some of the same companies for years, over and over again, and that's because it works. And if you're looking to get in with our super targeted audience, then don't waste any time. Get in with us. You can go to advertisewitharn.com right now, and that's where you're going to find out more about advertising with the Arn Show. Arn, we love reading ads together, don't we?
Yes, we do. And I tell you what, it's wrestling season right now. Things across the wrestling world pretty much are heating up. We're getting ready for a hot summer run, so tell somebody about YouTube. Hey man, if you remember this guy was the guy from your childhood, here's where you can go and find some of those memories and play them back and see them on YouTube. So
there you go. I love it.
Jump on it.
Jump on it. Get on it. Check us out on adfreeshows.com. Right now they're offering a week of freedom. That's right. Freedom to access anything you want on Ad Free Shows, a free trial. And then after that, just $9 a month. So check it out. You can find our bonus shows and everything extra Arn. They're all for live experiences. It's a great place where you can find even more Arn. And there's a dozen other podcasts over there as well. Arn, listen, next week we're going to take a look at February 1992. Here we go. It's the build to SuperBrawl 2 and the match where you and Bobby defend your newly won tag team titles against Rick and Scott Steiner. So, buddy, buckle up, because I'm sure there's going to be a pounding going on in that one.
I think I'll put on some liniment just to watch the match.
Well, guys, listen, on behalf of the enforcer, Arn Anderson, this is Paul Bromwell, and we'll see you right here again next week on Arn